For the first time in more than a decade, more Canadians left the province of British Columbia than Canadians that actually moved here. This is absolutely a huge problem because these people, they just couldn't take living in British Columbia any longer. This is a pretty scary statistic, one that we need to dive into a lot deeper to understand. Today's video is all about what happened, where they went, and what this means for anybody that's currently living in British Columbia, as well as anybody that's considering moving here. You're gonna wanna hang around to the very end of this video as well, because if you are someone that's looking to relocate to British Columbia, either from another province or anywhere else in the world, I'm gonna let you know how you can get completely informed on everything you need to know about buying a home in BC for absolutely free. If that sounds good, cue the music, let's get into it. My name is Darren, a realtor with McDonald Realty in Surrey, BC, and team leader with the German Group. If this is your first time on this channel and you want to learn absolutely everything there is to know about living in Surrey, BC, White Rock, BC, or keeping up to date with everything that happens in the crazy world of British Columbia real estate, consider subscribing so you are the first to be updated on both the market and the areas. People just like you are booking online meetups with me and my team almost every single day to learn more about the areas that we serve, and the good news is we're here to help. Whether you're looking at moving in the next 9 days, 90 days, or even 9 months from now, be sure to use the link to book a time to speak with me and my team so we can help make sure that your move to the areas that we serve is the absolute best that it could ever be. All right, so let's jump into this and what exactly happened. Well, for starters, the population of British Columbia actually did go up in 2023, popping up to about 5.6 million residents. This was an increase of just over 178,000 people, but this was driven mostly by immigration, not from other Canadians coming here, interprovincial migration. Now, interprovincial migration, which is a very big word and sometimes difficult to say on camera, was actually negative in 2023 for British Columbia, the first time in more than a decade. The last time we saw numbers like this was in 2012, and our net interprovincial migration was actually negative 8,654 residents. This means British Columbians were leaving in droves for other provinces because, well, they just couldn't take living in British Columbia any longer. So what was it that they couldn't take? It could be things like the cost of living, which is probably one of the larger drivers that help these people decide to call other provinces home. Things like shelter, things like housing, or just things like your financial future, your wage, or the general cost of living in British Columbia. This was never more apparent that we had a serious problem in British Columbia than when Alberta launched its Alberta is Calling campaign, something that was marketed to the provinces of both Ontario and British Columbia, also which you would assume are the most expensive provinces to live in all of Canada. And well, their website, it was pretty convincing. Their ads were pretty convincing. Even just looking at the website, Alberta is Calling, not only do you got attractive young people doing fun things on here, but you've got beautiful pictures of scenery, you know, all the things that Alberta has to offer, which is obviously a great province in its own right. You've got videos and testimonials and case studies about people who have relocated to Alberta for purposes of affordability, lifestyle, careers, and some of it, well, it's kind of hard to argue with. There is a lot of stuff in here. As an example, you can see there's 0% provincial sales tax in Alberta. The average residential rent in Alberta is only $1,435, which is way considerably lower than what it is in many areas of British Columbia. They've got some really interesting statistics here in terms of house values in Alberta, and they've got lots of statistics that things that would really matter to me, like disposable income, the cost of buying a home, owning a home. It also goes on to show things about, you know, more people having fun, lifestyle that you get. Obviously, Alberta, or some areas of Alberta, are quite close to the mountains. So it does and offers some really interesting things on this website. And they pushed this incredibly hard to try and get people just like you to relocate there. So just how bad is the cost of living and how bad are housing prices in British Columbia compared to the other areas in Canada? Well, for that, I want to show you this handy dandy price map, which is presented by the Canadian Real Estate Association. So if we look here, and it's pretty easy to use, if you just hover over top of each province, it'll show you not only the increases in values over the last year, but it'll also show you the benchmark price for homes generally. So benchmark is going to include all different types of homes, but you can see British Columbia was just slightly over $1 million at $1,018,000, whereas Alberta was $491,000. You can see Saskatchewan $334,000, Manitoba $362, Ontario second highest in all of Canada at $889. You've got Quebec at $511, and you've got Newfoundland and Labrador at $290. And you've got some other smaller provinces here, but we'll skip those for the purposes of this video.
Hey, real quick, I don't run any ads on my videos, intentionally anyways, and put in about 8 hours every week trying to bring you the very best content there is while keeping it somewhat entertaining too. The only ask that I have is that you help me spread the word on my videos so we can help more home buyers and sellers be wildly successful with real estate. Get it right the first time and dodge all the ways that people typically get burned when they buy or sell a home. Now, the only way that we can do that is if you give this video just a simple like to help other people like you find the content. That's the only thing we ask you to do. Don't even worry about subscribing. It will take you about 3 seconds and it would mean the absolute world to me, but more importantly, it may change the world for someone else. Thanks for clicking the like button, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the video.
Now, the cost of owning a house also coincides with the cost of renting a house, but it just doesn't stop with the price of housing. There is other provinces that have lower tax rates than British Columbia, Alberta, of course, being one that I just mentioned. There's also other provinces that don't have any property transfer tax when you buy a home, which is a significant burden on anybody purchasing a home in British Columbia. But there's also a lot more savings that aren't just limited to cost of shelter. There's things like fuel, where in Metro Vancouver, we pay some of the highest gas prices frequently in all of North America. And of course, that affects just about everything. We also have a very high cost of groceries here. Even alcohol in British Columbia is typically more expensive than it is in other provinces. Now, the purpose of this video is not to go into the cost of living in British Columbia. If you do want more information on that, you can check out either our Living in Surrey playlist or our Living in White Rock playlist, where we dive in completely into the cost of living for both each individual cities. But people generally are moving because they want a better quality of life, cheaper living, and a better financial future, oftentimes accompanied by better wages created to attract people to move to other provinces. So where did all these people go? You know, when they left BC, they had to make a decision to go to one of these different provinces. BC did not top the list of the most interprovincial loss to migration. Actually, that was Ontario. BC was second to this. Ontario lost 36,197 residents, whereas BC lost 8,624. But the crazy thing about this graph is that of the residents of BC, 37,650 residents left solely for the province of Alberta. The province of Alberta gained 55,107 residents in 2023, so it looks like their campaign worked, and it worked well. You can actually check out a video we all did about the claims that Alberta was making to try and get residents to move there that looks just like this. So if you want to do a little bit of a deeper dive on all of the claims and whether they're true or not, you're definitely going to want to check that out. So what does this mean for the people that live in BC or the people that are coming to British Columbia? Well, obviously, losing residents, that's kind of a good thing when it comes to the availability of more housing options and hopefully eventually taming some of the wild price increases we've seen over the last few years. I don't think anybody watching this video that lives in any other area of Canada is going to argue that British Columbia is absolutely beautiful and one of the most premier places to live in all of the country, albeit it is, of course, a little more expensive. So now you know why people moved, now you know where they went, and I'm curious what you think. What do you think of your financial situation if you're somebody that lives in British Columbia? How difficult is it for you to keep up with the cost of living in BC? And furthermore, have you ever considered leaving British Columbia for another province? If you're somebody that's looking to relocate to BC, I want to know your thoughts on the cost of living in British Columbia and how it compares to where you're coming from. Now you're completely up to speed on why almost 70,000 people moved out of our province, and if you are someone that is coming here, you definitely want to check out this video, which is going to arm you with everything you need to know about buying your next home in BC, all absolutely for free. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of the new videos we're producing on a regular basis, and we will look forward to seeing you on the next one. Cheers.